Welcome back. Donald Trump's legal issues will be front and center here in Washington tomorrow when the Supreme Court hears arguments over his sweeping claims of presidential immunity tied to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The court agreed to hear those arguments back in February, and it's not clear when it will issue a ruling. Trump's federal election interference case has been on hold pending the court's decision. As for Trump himself, the former president and presumptive Republican nominee will be back in a Manhattan courtroom tomorrow for the resumption of his hush money trial. There are no proceedings in that case today. Trump's longtime friend and former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker will be on the stand tomorrow for a third day. And we're also still awaiting a decision from the judge presiding over that case on whether the former president will face any penalties for publicly attacking witnesses and criticizing the jury pool. And joining me now is Joyce Vance, former U.S. attorney and now an NBC News legal analyst. Joyce, it is so good to have you here in person. We were just talking. I don't think we've met in person. It's really good to have you.
It's nice to be with you.
And why don't you walk us through tomorrow? I know there's a lot going on as
Right.
we laid out, but in the Supreme Court, what do you expect to go down tomorrow?
So tomorrow, this is the moment we've been waiting for, because the motion that the former president filed in this case is a motion that, if he succeeds with it on this appeal, would end the prosecution. He's argued that he's immune as a former president. So tomorrow we'll hear, obviously, the arguments from both sides, and what we'll be looking for are the questions of the justices, because there are, I think, at least three paths here. One would be to agree with the former president that there is presidential immunity. That's very unlikely. The consequences would be extreme. It would mean, for instance, that Joe Biden could steal this election.
Which justices do you think might give us the best insight as to how the court might rule?
So I think that the question here is, will this be unanimous, right? Or, as you were pointing out, will there be some justices in the middle? So we'll look certainly to the Chief Justice. This case will be important to him. It's a legacy case. And I think he, Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Barrett will form that center branch of the court if this is not going to be an 8-1 or 9-0 opinion.
So based on the current calendar, do you think Donald Trump's election interference case is going to happen before the election?
It depends on what the Supreme Court does. It's up to them how quickly they want to move.
But even if, I was hearing one analyst say, even if Donald Trump loses this immunity argument, if it takes long enough and it puts the Jack Smith case on hold, isn't that really a win for Donald Trump?
It really is. If the court holds this opinion until the end of their term, if this is a late June or an early July case, or if the ruling requires it to go back down to Judge Chutkan for further proceedings on the scope of immunity, then this case will de facto be over.
Going back to the other case, and actually the gag order in the other case, it's hard to keep track of these. Judge Merchan, we're waiting for that ruling on the gag order, whether the former president violated that gag order. When do you think that might come down?
I think we'll see it come any day now, maybe any minute now. Look, the judge needs to decide this and to tell Donald Trump what the consequences of future violations are.
And looking ahead till tomorrow in the actual case, David Pecker is set to be back on the stand. So far, what type of witness do you think he has been?
He's been a good witness. He's set the stage. He's told the jury that the scheme here was essentially catch and kill to elect Trump, right? This was about electing Donald Trump in 2016. But I would caution people not to get too enthusiastic about the testimony before the cross-examination.
Right.
That's when you find out what a witness is made of.
And that was what I was going to ask you next. The cross-examination, what do you think is going to happen there?
So there are a couple of different strategies, but what we'll see for certain will be an effort to show the limits of Pecker's testimony, to show, for instance, that he wasn't in the room with Trump, didn't talk to Trump, and the prosecution will stress the points where he was.
So I was down in Mar-a-Lago a few weeks ago, and I asked the former president whether he planned to testify. He said that he would. I know you should take that with a grain of salt. But at this point, do you think he has anything really to gain from testifying in this case?
I think his lawyers will try to keep him off the stand. There was a Sandoval hearing to determine which of his former bad acts and crimes prosecutors could cross-examine him about. That list includes things like the defamation judgment E. Jean Carroll obtained against him. It would be, I think, very unlikely for lawyers to be willing to see their clients subject themselves to that kind of cross-examination.
And really quickly, what witness are you most looking forward to after Pecker?
It's a hard call, but I think that Hope Hicks will be very interesting. She was close to Trump. She'll confirm some of the details.
And she doesn't usually speak publicly, so
No,
it'll be
she
very
doesn't.
interesting to hear what she has to say. Joyce, Vance, thanks again so much for joining us here in studio.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.